Treasures from Grandma by Arleta Richardson, illustrated by Jerde. Chapter 14. The Fortune Teller. "We have just 2 more years of school before we'll have to transfer to the town high school," Sarah Jane said as we walked past the empty schoolhouse. "I don't know whether I'm looking forward to it or not." "I don't think I'll like being away from home all week," I replied. "I wish there was a high school closer than town." "Maybe there will be in 2 years. That's a long time." She thought for a moment. Wouldn't it be fun to know what was going to happen 2 years from now? "It might be," I answered. "But what if it turned out to be something bad? Would you want to know about that?" "Sure. If I knew something bad would happen in 2 years, I'd do something to see that it didn't." "I don't think it works that way," I said. "I know I have to help Ma with spring cleaning, and there's not one thing I can do about it. Except maybe leave home." For once Sarah Jane didn't argue with my reasoning. It was plain to see that she was turning something over in her mind. "I know one way we could find out what's going to happen in the future," she said at last. "There's a lady in town who looks at your hand and tells you how long you'll live, and if you're going on a journey or going to meet a stranger, and all sorts of other things." "Sarah Jane!" I exclaimed. "That's wicked. You know you shouldn't go to fortune tellers. Anyway, how do you know about her?" "My cousin Laura went with a friend to see her," Sarah Jane replied. "I don't think she's really a fortune teller. She doesn't have a crystal ball or anything. Everyone has lines in their hand. This lady just tells you what your lines say." "What did Laura's say?" I asked her. "Did the lady tell her something that really happened?" "Well, one thing did, I guess. She said Laura would meet a dark-haired admirer in the street. Laura thought it would be a young man, but it was a horse. It ate the flowers off her hat. She figured it must have admired them." "You're right," I laughed. "That lady's not much of a fortune teller if that's the best she could do." I looked at my hand. "I wonder what my lines say. Do you know which one tells how long you'll live?" "Nope," Sarah Jane replied. "But I hope it's the longest one. Why don't we go see Madame Viola when we go to town Saturday?" "Madame Viola?" "That's her name, or at least that's what she calls herself." "Do you want to?" "I suppose it wouldn't hurt to go just for fun. We don't have to believe everything she says. Are you sure all she does is look at your hand?" "That's what Laura said. We won't have to say anything to our folks because we always go look around by ourselves anyway." I nodded. Even though I really thought this wasn't the same as fortune-telling, something said that a discussion with Ma wouldn't be in our best interests. "What if she told you you were going to die at the age of 20? Sarah Jane wondered. "Do you suppose you would go ahead and die then just because you thought you should?" "I don't think anyone knows when we'll die except God," I said, "but I'll admit I might be a little uneasy around my 20th birthday." Later, as we did the dinner dishes, I decided to question Ma. "Do you wish you knew what was going to happen in the future?" "I do know," Ma replied. "You're going to drop that plate if you don't watch what you're doing." "I mean the future, like 5 or 10 years from now," I said. "No, I don't," Ma said. "I have all I can do to take care of today without worrying about what's coming in 10 years. "I think I'd like to know if I was going to be rich or famous. That would be nice to look forward to." "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you," Ma quoted. God has promised us everything we need. I'm sure he would tell us what was going to happen 10 years from now, if he wanted us to know. Don't you think so?" "I guess so," I nodded. "But you can't help being curious." "Curiosity can lead to trouble," Ma warned. "You might find out something you'd rather not know." I should have heeded Ma's warning and stayed away from Madame Viola, but I was as anxious as Sarah Jane to hear what she would say. We went straight to her little shop as soon as we got to town on Saturday. The sign in the window said, "Palms Red, the future revealed, 10 cents." As we pushed open the door, the little bell tinkled and an ancient woman appeared from behind a curtain. "Oh, young ladies," she greeted us. Come in, come in. You wish to know what lies ahead, yes? Madame Viola can tell you." Sarah Jane shoved me forward. "You go first," she whispered. We all sat down at a table behind the curtain, and Madame Viola took my hand. With her long forefinger she traced the lines on my palm.
"Oh, yes," she murmured. "I see a long life for you, but not all will be happy. There is a move here also, and new friends."
A move? New friends? I didn't hear much more that Madame Viola said. We had agreed that this was just for fun, and we wouldn't believe what she told us. But what if she were right? I didn't want to move away or make new friends. I began to wish that we had never come. I didn't need to know as much as I thought I did. The sun was bright and cheerful when we stepped outside of Madame Viola's dark little room. It didn't lift my spirits, though, and I scarcely heard Sarah Jane chattering about what she had been told.
"What's the matter with you, Mabel?"
she asked.
"Are you worried about not all your life being happy? Everyone has some trouble sometime."
I shook my head.
"That doesn't bother me. I just don't want to go away from here." "Is that all?" Sarah Jane scoffed. "You know she only says what she thinks she sees. She can't make it happen. I don't think you're going any place any more than I am."
She sighed.
We wouldn't be that lucky."
Reluctantly, I agreed with her and decided to put the whole thing out of my mind.
"Let's go to the dry goods store and see if they have anything new," I suggested.
We ran toward the store, and by dinner time I had forgotten Madame Viola and her predictions. I probably wouldn't have remembered them again if I hadn't been looking for our Tabby's new kittens a few weeks later.
"I haven't seen them," Ma said when I asked her. "She usually hides her kittens pretty well until their eyes open. My guess would be the barn."
I searched around the lower floor without success. If they were in the barn, they had to be in the loft. I scrambled up the ladder just as Pa came through the door. He was talking to Ma.
"The only thing to do is sell," he said. "We can't keep it up any longer."
"I suppose you're right," Ma agreed. "I hate to let it go, though. We've had a lot of happy times in it."
"I know, but it's old and we need more room. Nothing lasts forever."
There was silence below me. I didn't mean to be eavesdropping, but it was too late now to let them know I was there. My heart sank as I remembered Madame Viola's words.
"I see a move here also, and new friends." "Do you have another one in mind?"
Ma was asking.
"Yes, Wesley Blake told me of one for sale near his place. He said it would be just right for our family. I'll go see about it when I go to town Friday."
They left the barn and I sat on the hay with my chin on my knees. The kittens were forgotten. Pa was going to sell our house and buy a bigger one. The Blakes lived at least 10 miles on the other side of town. I'd have to go to another school, and I'd be without Sarah Jane. Even though she aggravated me sometimes by being so know-it-all, I couldn't imagine my life without her. We had been best friends since we were babies. I knew all her secrets, and she knew all mine. Whatever would I do? I sat for a long time thinking the situation over. I couldn't even talk to Ma about it unless I told her that I had overheard. I decided to go and share the news with Sarah Jane. "Mabel, are you sure?" she gasped when I told her. I nodded miserably.
"I heard it with my own ears, and remember Madame Viola saw it in my hand." "I really didn't think those things came true,"
Sarah Jane moaned.
"I'm never going back to see her again. Do you suppose your hand really does say that?"
We both looked at my palm and then compared it to Sarah Jane's. There was no difference that we could see. The lines appeared to be the same, and they didn't tell us anything at all.
"This has to be the worst day of my life," I declared. "Nothing this bad has ever happened before. We'll have to think of something." "You'd better leave the thinking to me. You're liable to move yourself into the next state by mistake."
I was too upset to make a smart remark back. Besides, I had to get home to supper. Ma didn't seem to notice that I wasn't saying much as I set the table. But when I pushed my food around on my plate without eating, she questioned me.
"Are you sick, Mabel?"
I shook my head.
"Then why aren't you eating?" "I don't want to move,"
I blurted. Everyone stared at me in astonishment.
"This time she's really gone over the edge,"
Roy declared.
"I knew it would happen." "Whatever are you talking about?"
Pa asked.
Madame Viola said I'd be moving, and I heard you say you were selling the house, and I don't want to go." "Maybe we'd better start at the beginning and sort this out," Ma suggested. "Just who is Madame Viola?" With tears, I told them the whole story, including what I had overheard in the barn.
"We won't say any more about Madame Viola,"
Pa said when I had finished.
"I think you've learned your lesson about wasting your money on such as that. But as to selling the house, we wouldn't think of it."
Pa's eyes twinkled.
"You heard us talking about selling the buggy and getting a bigger one."
Pa's eyes twinkled.
"Will that be suitable for you?"
Suddenly, the heavy weight left my stomach and I was hungry. Everything was going to be all right again.
"I guess I don't want to know about the future,"
I told Ma after supper.
"I'll just be glad to let the Lord send me whatever He wants me to have." "I think that's wise,"
Ma agreed. Very wise indeed. End of chapter 14.